Hey guys, welcome to the Grow Design Podcast. My name is Emmanuel Molly and I have with me my ever dazzling co-host.
Hi, everybody. Ini here. Nice to be here again.
Right, so today we have a returning guest and she's an amazing friend of ours and I will allow Ini to do the introduction of the guest. Over to you, Ini.
All right. Welcome to the podcast again, Christina. Look, Christina is no guest at this point. She is a darling friend
I'm
of the
part
group.
of the team. I'm
She's
required to pound.
at this point a very integral part of the Great Design podcast team. But what's been amazing about Christina is when we last spoke to Christina, we were discussing our unique career path and the incredible journey that she's made going from CMO to working at Sweatcoin and just having an incredible career trajectory. But since we last saw Christina, things have changed. Wow. And
Yeah.
right now, part of the thing she's involved with is the Great Design School, which is another platform that we are so proud to be a part of. And she's a tutor at the Great Design School. I was part of the first cohort, and it was through the community that Emmanuel and myself connected. And beyond the Great Design School, Christina has also taken on this Solopreneurship route, which is why she's coming on the podcast again, because we are going to be digging into that Solopreneur guide, just talking about this alternative career path that Christina has chosen. And just, you know what? Yeah, just take it away,
Yeah,
Christina.
let's dig into it. Definitely.
Now I'm scared myself. Like, what did I choose? It sounds way bigger than it feels.
Yeah, I think also it's always good to hear from the awesome mouth, right? So, Christy, could you tell us a bit about your journey path and what got you where you are right now?
So, as Ini mentioned, I started, like, my background is in digital marketing. I was chief marketing officer at a medium-sized tech company managing more than 50 plus people, mostly marketers, developers, designers. Back in Belarus, I'm originally from Belarus. I think I didn't mention it in our first chat. So guys, whoever is from Belarus, hello. But yeah, basically when I moved to Poland, I quit my job as a marketer entirely and I started freelancing as a designer. It was quite an obvious choice for me because my partner, he's a web developer. So obviously I can start helping him with some small projects. I was always on the visual side of things. I was designing throughout my marketing career a lot because, you know, designers are always busy, especially if you're coming from a marketing team with all those stupid requests like, I need those Instagram posts designed for me. And designers like, you know, sitting on something like corporate, large Excel table and like, okay, next month, and you need them tomorrow. So basically you start a lot designing as a marketer sometimes. And then I started freelancing. So that was my first time freelancing. And to tell you the truth, guys, starting freelancing for the first time while starting a new career and moving to a different country is a terrible idea.
Yeah,
I do not recommend.
Too many firsts.
And 1 out of 10 experience, honestly. So when you start freelancing for the first time, there are a lot of things to figure it out, like your business management, your financial management, your business setup in general, communication with clients. There are so many skills outside of the box that you need to learn. On top of it, I was also learning how to design. So it was a very, very tough start for me, first time freelancing. Then after some time freelancing, I started working as a product designer. I joined Sweatcoin team, whereas like I had the most successful case study of acquiring 66 million users within a year. So it's like now I can wear this as a badge on my website and my portfolio. But basically I became a growth designer thanks to joining Sweatcoin team and learning more about how to combine my marketing knowledge, my designer knowledge, and my business owner knowledge and freelancing knowledge in one place. So growth design was a perfect combination of my past experiences and my skills. So it was very, very natural move for me. And then after working at Sweatcoin for some time. You know, when you work for one company, you're getting a bit bored. So I was looking for a new challenge. I also tried working for a crypto startup, a dark path. I wanted to always learn more about crypto, but I didn't have kind of like time on my own. So whenever someone offers you a job in crypto, you're like, oh yeah, I can still jump into this train. So I jumped into this train, and then the last year I left this train. And then I had some time trying to figure out if I want to go back full time, or I want to start freelancing, or I want to become a content creator, start my YouTube channel. You know, it's hard to live with a content creator at home. My partner, he's a YouTuber, he has his YouTube channel. So it's like I have this influence, and I'm like, oh, should I also have my own? And for half a year, I think, I was trying to figure out a lot of things for myself. Luckily, I had this time and I was able to take a break, think about my future, go to a lot of events, mostly online, join growth design school, and basically start my newsletter. And it was very interesting kind of like period of life, just like when you kind of like mature enough and now you're trying to understand, okay, what I want to do with all the knowledge, skills I have. Do I want to go back to corporate work, 9 to 5? Even with all the remote flexibility, it still leaves you a very little space for other activities or side projects. So I've realized it's time to go back to freelancing. And it was an easy decision because I've been there before. I know how the business side works. So coming back to freelancing was so much smoother than the first time. It was like the area I know perfectly. I know how to keep a casual conversation. I know how to present myself. I know how to communicate my values to my clients. I know where is my strengths. And now when I already had experience as a designer and felt more confident about my rates and pricing and what I can actually offer, it was amazing experience going back to freelancing. So I can imagine if you're more senior designer and you will be switching to freelance opportunities, the experience will be much, much smoother compared to what I have. My first time being an absolute junior newbie with zero experience trying to freelance, even with this package, I managed to successfully freelancing, but still the amount of effort and how much nerves I lost is amazing. So coming back to freelancing was really, really enjoyable. And also because I'm much more experienced this time, I can afford being more picky about the project I want to work with, what's interesting for me, what is my niche, how I want to shape myself. And I'm slightly moving into this direction of being kind of like a go-to place for other content creators. I find it extremely interesting to work with other solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, and content creators. So this is the direction that drives me a lot.
Oh gosh, there are so many things that you've said in there that we will unpack in the episode. But starting with your reference to how much smoother it's been this second time around, what are the crucial non-design skills that you've had to either develop or refine for you to be able to thrive on this second go around as a solopreneur?
I would say there are two directions, the hidden one and the obvious one. The obvious is everyone thinks about, like content creation, positioning yourself, your personal brand, and this kind of like package of yourself as solopreneur, freelancer, or content creator. So this is an obvious part. I'm not going to dive deep into this because that's what everyone sees and everyone talks about, especially a lot about personal brand. We'll touch deeper on what kind of like key elements of personal brand, but I wanted to touch on something that is neglected a lot, not discussed. Taxes.
Oh God.
Guys, running a business is running a business. And when you are a single person, everything that normally happens and divided by entire team in a company happens to you, you are wearing those multiple hats. You're sales manager, you're marketing manager, you're social media manager, you're designer, you are everything. And you're founder, owner, and so on. So collecting all those skills of running your own business, understanding the financial part, understanding the project management, because now there is no manager to tell you what you're doing today, is a tough part. There are a lot of things that you need to figure out for yourself, which are pretty unique. So I can't even recommend some things for you guys, because that's something you need to figure out for yourself, depending on your personality, how you prefer to work, what type of projects you want to work with, what type of clients you want to work with. So it's something that kind of like getting polished throughout your experience. And the more you're freelancing, the more you understand about yourself, how to manage your day, how to prioritize your tasks. Are those tasks really important to do today, or it's just your inner project manager pushing you for no reason because he's from Germany, or she is, depending on what voice you're talking to? Yeah, and basically those elements, they're not so visible. They're hidden, like especially when solopreneurship or freelance is presented online. You always think about the dude working on a beach, you know, with his laptop in the pool. Oh my God, why would you take a laptop to a pool? It's so unsafe.
Or you're barefoot in Bali. You see those
Yeah,
ones.
like, oh my God. No, it's not how the work happens. So this marketing image of freelance is dominating the internet. And people think that entrepreneurs are some lazy people walking around in Bali. And it's a problem because the same picture is seen by many clients. So this global marketing has a negative side on anyone trying to build their business as a solopreneur, trying to find clients, because a lot of clients who had negative experience with hiring freelancers previously, they will adopt this picture and they will have this mentality, oh, this is another lazy Bali guy who will be, I don't know, having margarita on my budget instead of delivering the logo I requested. And another small element of hidden elements is tools. You need to learn a lot of tools, because you as a business, you are the one person running at everything. So you need to know project management tools, you need to know different email clients, website builders. You're one stop for everything people want you to do. So you are also a tech support for some people who are less tech savvy, because you will have a lot of different clients. It's not always a developer or designer from tech industry. And those tools, they're not so obvious that you need to understand how each of them works, how you can work with them efficiently, and how you can deliver results fast.
Those are really interesting skill sets which you talked about there, right? And I know you talked about the outer brand part you see as a solopreneur or as a freelancer that you said you don't talk about. So I think that's where I will want to dive into in terms of your personal branding as a solopreneur, right? We know that that's what we see. That's what everybody perceives of you as a person. In building your personal brand, right? Beyond that, what are the essential things that you need to do and as a solopreneur, and how do you approach building your personal brand, and what advice will you give for people who want to stand out?
So first of all, personal brand is not only about how you present yourself or position yourself, it's also about what people think of you after kind of receiving all this communication you are putting outside in the world. And this also includes your position, values, personality, how authentic you are, the way you communicate all those details. So whenever I try to think of personal brand, I try to divide it into categories that can help me to summarize where should I focus my efforts the most for each category. What do I have and what do I lack as a designer, solopreneur, freelancer, no matter what is your kind of like industry or direction, they're pretty the same for everyone. First of all, it's personality. So personal brand is built around your personality. Strange, right? But I'm noticing a lot of people forget it. A lot of people forget that personal brand is not some corporate logo or some values written on your website. It's about who you are. It's about your personality. What makes you unique compared to other people? Because whenever you look at someone's website and you have multiple choices of who to hire, the choice comes sometimes just to who you like more, which type of person you would prefer to work with, and how well this personality is communicated. Is it immediately clear for me that the process with this person will be super easy and smooth? Or it's going to be more corporate and official, and I prefer this direction. So whenever a client is looking for the right person to do the job, they consider what type of person you are, and they're trying to understand it immediately on top of all your design work. Because when you think about it, what you do the most on the project, you communicate.
Yeah.
You're not spending the time in Figma. You will be communicating a lot, trying to understand each other, find this ground and talk to each other. That's why it's so important to immediately present who you are, how to work with you, and why should I choose you? What makes you so special? So please, anyone thinking about their personal brand, don't forget about your unique personality. It's what makes you unique. It's why I want to work with you, not with someone else. Another pillar of this personal brand is your reputation. In majority of cases, reputation is built over the years, depending on what companies you worked for, what logo brands you have on your portfolio, who you worked with, some people recommending you online or leaving you testimonials. So your reputation is something that grows together with your brand, and it takes time. So it's not something that you can start immediately from day one. So it's better to start building it very early in your career. If you're working, for example, in a corporate company, you have your colleagues, ask them for a testimonial. Just even your team member telling that it's a pleasure to work with Ini. She's amazing. I wish I was working with her my entire life, would be amazing add-on to your reputation. So reputation is something that you can start building from day one you're born. Collect it on your social media, on your LinkedIn, anywhere you can. Just the earlier you start, the better. Even if you're not considering freelancing at this stage, it will also help with corporate jobs, with full-time roles. It's always there. It needs to be there. Another thing is network. Who is around you? Who is advertising you? Who are the people you're talking to? You know, this common, you are the representation of 5 people you know. My point here is that your network is also represents you. How people recommend, what type of people recommend you is reflected in your personal brand. And for example, if you're surrounded by hustle bros, guess what type of client you will be getting? Hustle bros. So I wanted to kind of like make it really clear that your network is also affecting what type of projects you're getting. And if you're not happy with the type of projects you're getting, probably there is something more wrong with your current projects and with the network you have. So this is the answer for anyone who was like, why I'm getting those ridiculous requests. It's a lot about your brand. And the next element is the toughest one. It's expertise, because that's something that takes a lot of time to build on, a lot of effort, a lot of learnings, a lot of hours. spend on gaining this expertise, that it becomes better with every new project, every new year of freelancing you do, or solopreneurship, or whatever you're doing. It takes time, and there's nothing you can do really except invest more time. It's about like thousands of hours you've been doing something. Like, I think I spent definitely more than thousands of hours working in Figma. So basically, those elements, they require your time and effort, and it's not something you can speed up easily. So you need to constantly learn. As a solopreneurship, as someone who wants to stay in demand, stay connected to the market, stay connected to the clients, to the trends, you need to learn and constantly gain more and more expertise. That's where like niching is helpful from one side, but from another side, when you're freelancing, you want to be a generalist. You want to have a multiple expertise of less deepness. Of course, you can't be like deeply in every topic you touch, but the more of those kind of like elements, like a mosaic you have of expertise, the more helpful it is for your personal brand.
Great. So just a quick follow-up, right? You've highlighted some of these thoughts, right? How do one know that you are doing it right? What are the results you start to see when you take some of these things you've highlighted into practice?
So just a quick note. If you are thinking, do I have personal branding or not? Is it good enough? Probably it's not good enough. Yeah, it's like, sometimes on Reddit, people ask how to understand if you're attractive. So if you have this question, probably you're not
aren't.
attractive. The same with personal branding. If you're not sure if you're having it or if it's good enough, probably it's not good enough. If you constantly getting inquiries, comments from people reaching out to you and telling you that they love your website, they love what you're doing, they love your content, they want to offer you a job, this is green flag. That's what all you need to know, that your personal branding is working. If nothing of that is happening, probably something is not working, and you need to investigate which of those pillars are missing.
Right. You touched on the personal branding, but then you've also touched on who is coming to you as a result of it, or lack thereof, right? We already know that finding and landing clients is a serious challenge for freelancers, for solopreneurs. So what strategies have you found effective in being able to get that constant stream of clients coming in? Especially, everybody's got an agency these days. It's an increasingly competitive design space, right?
From one side, yes. From another side, no. The market is saturated, but is saturated with low quality. So I have to say it because it's the same like a lot of people saying about YouTube. Oh my God, YouTube is oversaturated. There is no chance I can start my channel and talk about the topic I love or provide value to people. But that's not the truth. The truth is that YouTube is oversaturated with super low quality content. And when you're actually trying to find something useful, whenever you have a specific question in mind and you're trying to find it on YouTube, you are finding tons of videos giving you so much water without a single thought in it that you're like, oh my God, is it so hard? Like, it's just one single question. It's the same from client side. Whenever you look for a freelancer, solopreneur, or someone to help you, you're overwhelmed with poor choices. All what you're finding is just low quality offerings, especially if you go to places like Upwork, where people are just like trying to lower their pricing and so on. So you won't find high quality clients there. High quality clients won't be there because whenever they touch this area, they are scared. They're looking for a partner who can take care of their business. That is a very valuable, almost a child to them. Like, like I will ask parents, would you give your child to a random person you found on Upwork to take care of? Like,
Hell no.
would exactly. Imagine clients, they have the same feeling about their business. They invested hours and hours, nights, lack of sleep into their business, and now there is someone who gives them fake promises, or they don't even care about the pricing so much. Like a lot of freelancers focus on like lowering their fees, lowering their hourly rates, or like bidding on Upwork. That's not the way. So my point here is market is not so competitive as it seems if you can provide high quality value. That's the first point. And second point, I love this question about like, how do you find clients? Because that's the most frequent question I'm getting asked for anyone who is trying to start with freelancing. How do I find clients? And the funniest thing here, you do not find clients, they find you. You let them to find you. So your whole goal is about being discoverable. Let them find you. Be everywhere they can look for a designer, developer, content strategist, video creator, whatever you do. Be there. Be researchable, be discoverable. They need to find you. And if you're just not presented anywhere, there is no chance they will find you. That's why personal brand and this social presence and this wide network of different activities is so important. The more kind of like, if you think about like Easter eggs, the more Easter eggs you put around online, the more chances someone will find them and contact you. So some helpful elements to this like personal brand and being findable is content creation. So obviously if you can create a podcast and run it, or if you can start a newsletter, social media post, YouTube channel, anything is really helpful to be discoverable. Networking as well, like networking with other professionals, establishing relationship, talking to Emmanuel from time to time. This also helps a lot with referrals. So if people know you, if people know that you're a good designer, a good reliable business partner, they can refer people to you. They will keep you in mind whenever someone comes their way. And referrals, so basically with running your business, it's a funny situation because the longer you run the business, the better it gets, because all those past people you helped who had positive experience with you, who really enjoyed working with you, they also know other entrepreneurs in need. They know other businesses in need. And guess what? They will send those businesses to you and they will be your best salespeople because they will be like, oh my God, Kristina is amazing. It's the best designer I've worked with. Please hire her. And that's how it will work. They will be like, no personal brand, no value communication can beat this personal reference. Like when someone referring you in a way that they are super excited about the results and they kind of put in their name next to you to guarantee, that's a strength.
Okay.
And another interesting element that I will mention that can help you with this, like being more discoverable, is education. When you start teaching others, mostly you work with juniors or someone who's just entering the industry, or they might not be your target audience. But this is a huge help in growing your network and position yourself as an expert. So if you see that someone is teaching design, they must be good at design. If they're helping, if they're helping other designers to grow, if they mentor, even on an ADP list and so on, it's a green flag for anyone. It's an expert because other designers are learning from this person. So for example, like teaching a dribble at many other courses I've been teaching, or even coaching at Lifties, or teaching now the full cohort at growth design, it all creates those amazing layers to my personal brand that Christina is an expert, we can trust her. Even though sometimes I'm learning much more from my students than they do from me.
Yeah. Okay. So there are two things that I want to touch on now, right? We've talked about the clients and how you get them and all the things that you need to take into consideration as you're working towards getting them. Then, for someone who might be going into this for the first time, we know how tricky pricing can be still. So yes, maybe the way not to go is the $5, whatever the case is. And I know Fiverr has gone through a rebrand, so it's not, they're trying to move away from that $5 image.
I started on Fiverr. It's a great
It's a great,
first
yeah.
lead generation. Like if you're starting like from total scratch, like giving your packages on Fiverr is a good start. So basically not $5 package, but if you're offering a small service for $30-50, it's a very kind of like easy establishing a first project to build the trust with a client, and then later they will come back for more.
Yeah. So exactly. So we've got that kind of set up. And I mean, there are other platforms now today. You've got things like Contra, CONTRA. There's a bunch now. But still, it still comes back to that. You will find a lot of designers underpricing themselves and their skills and just not being able to find the right compensation for their expertise level. Now, how have you gone about that in determining your own rates and how you approach? You don't just say, this is my price, keep it moving. There are scenarios where the client wants to have a conversation about the pricing. So one, how have you gone about determining what your rates are? And then two, how do you then go about those kinds of negotiations with clients where they do want to talk about it? You want what's best for your clients, but you also want to ensure that you're fairly compensated for the work that you're going to do.
So first, quick advice. If a client is questioning your pricing, that's going to be a tough project. All the projects where I negotiated pricing were a terrible one.
I agree so deep with that.
Basically, if someone is questioning your pricing, they're questioning your value. That's what it means. It's not about the money, because there's like $100 to $200 difference doesn't really make sense long term for them. It's the fact that they think that you're not providing enough value for the price you told them. So it's a red flag from the beginning. If a client is questioning your pricing, probably you don't want to work with this client. It's going to be a problematic client. They will continue questioning your value. They will continue questioning your pricing. They will be very picky about feedback, about your deliverables. They will like really go through every point of your contract if you have a contract with them. So whenever someone is questioning your pricing, first of all, really clear scope of work and ideally contract, because those type of projects are going to be a pain. That's the first quick note. And then when it comes to pricing, I really love the pricing question, because it's where your growth design mindset is especially important, because that's where you experiment. It's all A/B testing. It's all like you're trying different rates. You see how it goes. You see how many rejections you're getting based on this rate. So my kind of like rule of thumb, if more than 80% of leads accepting your offer immediately, you're charging too low.
Yes.
So
agreed.
If it's about 50% that you're on this like golden point where like you're around the market average, everything is fine, and you want to around 50 of your project to drop off. If you see like less than 20% accepting your offer, and probably you're charging too much for your level or for your current branding or for your current portfolio, or basically for the way you present yourself. You either need to improve the presentation part or lowering your fees and continue experimenting. So it's not something that you can decide once and live with it, because there is a lot of things to consider whenever you estimate the project, especially for fixed projects. Whenever you're trying to estimate the price of the website, it's all those like tests and experiments where you're trying to understand how much time I spent on a website. Do I even know it in the beginning? No. So most likely I will undercharge, and that's fine. That's how you learn. You just like try to figure out how much time I actually spend on project of this size, of this scope. How can I improve next time, or how much I would charge the next time. And also, once you get a bit of experience, you're introducing special multipliers. So, for example, a typical multiplier would be if you don't want to work on this project, but you would for some 2x, 3x, 4x price, then basically you're just introducing this multiplier for projects that you would normally say no, but for some particular amount of money you would agree. And basically that's the moment when you're getting quite experienced in freelancing and you just start charging more like project-based, client-based, rather than have a constant rate all the time.
You know, when you touched on as a warning sign, a walking red flag is the clients that question your pricing. I remember in my days of running the design agency, I remember sending through a contract to a client, and they had reached out to their lawyer with my contract, and I basically got the contract back with pages of red pen and notes.
Oh my
and notes
God.
and notes on the terms that the client would rather propose, not even agreeing to the terms I put forth, but just like, we're proposing this. And of course, much of it had to do with the pricing and just the structure and cadre of payments and things like that. And then I offered as a, you know what, why don't we jump on a call so we can have a conversation? And the lawyer showed up to this conversation, which is all well and good. If anything, I actually advise clients, because I'm a lawyer and I draft my contracts at that standard. If anything, I always offer that call, like, you know what, let's talk about it to put your mind at ease. But anyway, the lawyer showed up and to this call with the client. I don't think they realized I was a lawyer. So they just came like, oh yeah, I've got my lawyer on the call, as a way to sort of bamboozle through the pricing. And very quickly they could see, one, I wasn't budging, but then two, it was like when we got to the very technical legal terms, just responding with that level, and the lawyer began to look very unsure about what was going on. So it was, anyway, the long story short was that after that conversation, I responded to just say, thank you for your time, I will not be taking the project, because it was just a very quick sign as to what I could expect regarding that, because you can see how the feedback, the conversations, I got all the vibes like this project would drag on, go out of scope, and just take too much energy that was
It's not going to
unnecessary.
work for anyone. Like,
Exactly.
basically, whenever you see those red flags like pricing or contracts or something like that, most likely the energy you will spend on finishing this project will be ridiculous.
It will finish
and
you,
in the
not the other way around.
meanwhile, you probably would finish 2 or 3 really lovely, easy, nice, friendly projects. So whenever you worry like, oh no, I need projects this month, I would rather say no and invest this free time into polishing my personal brand, even like reaching out to some communities, asking my network if someone is looking for a designer, like being a bit more proactive on looking for clients, rather than taking a project that is gonna just dry me.
Yeah, and those projects really have a way of just going completely out of touch, to the point where in my early days, there was a project that was supposed to be completed in 3-4 months and ended up going for a full year. And
Yeah, exactly.
it's an advice I give to people a lot when it comes to just running your own thing, where it's like, when stuff happens that it's like things not going the right way or the way you prefer them, write them down. Those are the things that should form clauses in your contract when it comes to setting the terms of relationships. So as your business grows, your contract should actually grow. So by the time I was done, I went from having a 3-page contract to a 15-page contract. And yeah, I'm not a problem, but like I just like to be very detailed.
I think
But yeah,
that's a bit complex for solopreneurship. Like,
yeah,
the other thing with solopreneurship, you're as a single person. You
yeah.
can't be a lawyer and running
No, yeah.
contracts and
Yeah, no,
everything
but
like
like
that.
in simple terms though, if you can note down the things, I think my advice is more from if you note down the things that don't go right as they happen, eventually when you get to a point where you can talk to a lawyer, it will give you a much richer perspective of advising how this lawyer should potentially draft your contract, for example. That's more what I'm advising, not like you doing it yourself. No.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
yeah,
I'm just saying, like, normally as a solopreneur, you're simplifying things. You're
yeah,
trying to avoid contracts or things like that because it adds complexity. You need to wait for someone to sign it. You need to wait, especially like when you work with one-on-one with a founder. It's quite a stressful experience for them because they also don't have lawyer. They don't know if this contract is fine, if they can trust you at this moment. So you're trying to simplify things so they would be manageable for you to run the business.
right.
And I'm a big pro simplifier. Oh my God, I'm not sure if I can tell it. Whenever I see, those freelancers kids with super complex Notion organization when they have like a client CMS here and then they have like a database of their projects connected to a client and they have I'm going, oh my God, you have so much free time. Do you even work with freelance projects? Do you even have clients? When did you build this ecosystem? It's not manageable and it's not helpful. It slows you down. I can't imagine a situation where running multiple
Projects.
pages would help me with speeding up the project.
True, true. I think just to boil down that point in terms of time management, right? So,
Yeah.
which from what you said, that it's really crucial in terms of how you manage things as a solopreneur. You don't want to have bureaucracies and a lot of processes that then you don't have time to manage. In your own experience, right? What are the techniques that has helped you stay very, very productive and manage your time effectively?
There are two main things because I love simplifying, so there is only two. Block time on your calendar. So that's the first. And I'm talking not only about work or when you're out of the office, I'm also talking about your personal work-life balance, your sport events, your meetings with your friends, and so on. Just block this time on your calendar. Leave this space for your hobbies, exercising, your personal life. Book this massage you were going to book for the last 2 months. It's for Ini.
I know, that's why I started laughing.
Just book it. And when you add things to your calendar, you can actually visually understand how busy you are and that you don't really have that much space
No.
for anything else that day. So it really helps with this visualization because without it, I also have a tendency to overbook myself.
Yeah.
Even being more experienced freelancer, I sometimes find myself in this situation again and again and like ending up working at midnight and things like that. Like in our today's podcast. Just kidding. But basically, you need those visual blocks on your calendar to understand like, oh, I actually don't have that much time. And sometimes it feels unnatural, especially with your friends or family, or sending invite to my partner to go for a lunch walk. But that's the only way, because otherwise those things, they will simply slip out of your schedule. So there will be always not enough time for your friends, family, for your self-care, because it's not planned. But it's not planned can be what? Taken by work. Because, especially when freelancing, you are so getting married to the idea that every hour of your life costs money. So whenever I think, oh, this is 2 hours flight, I could earn 2 hours rate. If I whenever you even commuting somewhere becomes estimates in money for me. So this habit, it really develops when you start freelancing, because every
Yeah.
your hour of life, it costs money,
It costs
because
money.
you could
Yeah.
earn them. They're on the table. You have the ability to take them, but you need to stop yourself. You need to create this space for you to live and to breathe and to have free time. This is the first part. And the second part is prioritization. How do you prioritize your tasks? And here it is important to understand you can't do it all.
No.
I normally have 3 types of tasks. Must-haves for today. Ideally, it's just one task that I definitely need to do today. Then I have second priority tasks, frequently connected to more like personal life, like visiting a dentist or like replying to email. So something that is not crucial for me today. Normally there are like 2 or 3 tasks of this type. And then I have fillers. I call them fillers because whenever I have time, I can do them. But also I can do them tomorrow or next week or in a month. So also it's like ongoing. Sometimes it's like house chores or I don't know, like small things that always on your table. They're always listed there for me, but they are optional. So I don't feel pressure to do it all today. But whenever I have time, I'm not just procrastinating, scrolling Instagram. I can actually feel it with something that will move me forward in my life.
Yeah. And so in thinking about, now we're talking about all this daily navigation, finding work-life balance, right? What have been some of your own biggest challenges now that you faced in that transitioning into solopreneurship? What has been hard that you felt, okay, you know what, today is hard?
I would say everything related to running a business is hard. Anytime I need to talk to my accountant, I have almost a small heart attack because she's a very strong Polish woman. She's not ready to understand that you have some YouTube channel, Gumroad digital product. She's not ready for this. She grew up in Poland. Where is your paper invoice? Can you send it to me? This is her level. So basically, the most complex part, I personally find the most complex, is all this business running activities when you need to go to the meetings, every time you need to kind of present yourself, present your values, your personal brand again and again and again. It's not like with full-time job, you did it once a year and you can like relax for the next year until you want to change your job. So it's constantly there. You need to be always ready. And this is also kind of a good part because it's getting so much easier. Like whenever I go to interview after my first year of freelancing, I was like interviewing like a pro. Like feedback from recruiters was like, "Oh my God, you're so good at it, and you just like in design for a couple of years." And like, girl, I'm doing it daily. Just like you don't understand how many times I've been talking about my self projects, my experience, how good I am at it. Like it's becoming a routine. So there's a side effect to it. But I would say the business part is very tiring and sometimes demanding, and the boundaries. Yeah. I'm naturally a workaholic, I have to admit. Fellow workaholics, I'm with you.
Over here.
So I need very strict boundaries. I need to set up boundaries for myself, is follow them like a German soldier, because otherwise I slip into working. And it's harder not to slip in your work when you enjoy it so much. So whenever, especially because I'm freelancing, I'm working with really interesting content creators. I'm working with really interesting projects, and I'm personally getting involved with their energy, and I'm personally interested in success of their business. It's getting very personal. So this barrier between what is your work and what is your personal life, it's getting blurred. It's really hard to understand where is the barrier, where is the line happening. So you need constantly to bring this line back for yourself and trying to understand, am I okay? Am I doing okay? Am I working? Or it's my hobby? Or I'm talking to friends? What's going on right now? Which side of the line I am on? And it's always like a mental exercise you need to practice frequently, because with this blurred line, it's really hard to understand where people need to pay for your work or are you just enjoying doing some
Benefit.
hobby or side projects or fun stuff. So
Yeah.
this is something that I personally find really challenging. I know like a lot of people who are less emotionally involved in their work or less emotionally connected to their clients, they don't have this problem. But I invest a lot in my work. I invest in every project because for me, it's almost like seeing their business growing is really, really satisfying for me. It's almost like a hobby to see like, how far I can push it. Let's go. It's like a game or betting for me. So it's really hard to keep this line and make sure I'm not overworking and I'm keeping myself together.
Nice. So I want to talk about an aspect you mentioned when you were kind of talking about personal branding, talking about expatriate, right? How do you identify like your niche when you want to sort of specialize? For designer looking to niche down into a specific design business, what would be your advice in terms of them growing that expatriate? Like, is it normal for you to be a generalist or you just niche down to a particular aspect of design, maybe growth design, just like maybe what you do now? What are the side notes and based on your experience, sort of?
If you're just starting, it's easier to start as a generalist. So being everywhere and everything a bit would help a lot, because when I was starting, I was doing quite random projects, whatever clients want from me. So I was positioning myself as a designer, but I was setting up Shopify stores. I was designing slides in Google Slides. I was setting up a course for a guy about Airbnb. So, whatever you want, I will learn it for your money and do it for you. So whenever you just start in freelancing, being generalist and being open to any requirements from client is super helpful, because you can learn on the go. And this is something I learned about myself. My best learning experience is when I'm getting paid for it.
Yes. Look, I am
I'm never so motivated in
Yes.
anything else. Once I see the invoice for a thing I've never done in my life, I will be learning it so fast, so smooth, with so much pleasure that it doesn't work without the invoice. I tried it. It's way harder, guys. I don't know how my students
It's no
are doing it,
motivation.
because they are paying for courses where I'm teaching, and
Yeah.
on top of it, they need to learn, and I'm like getting paid for teaching those courses. So I don't know, but this is a life hack. So being open-minded in your career, it helps a lot, because once you establish the trust with a potential client, once you did a few projects together, they don't care if you don't know the tool or anything about this job. If you're open to accept it, and if you're saying like, I will do whatever I can, they will pay for it and you will learn a new skill. So for beginners, this is critical. If you're more on senior professional who wants to start freelancing and you already have kind of like a specialization, that would be the most logical for you to continue this direction. So if you're a senior growth designer and you want to continue to be a senior growth designer as a freelancer, it totally makes sense. You can even narrow it down by focusing on specific targets. So for myself, I love helping content creators. I want to work with them. I want to work with other solopreneurs and entrepreneurs. I want to be with those folks. I love them. If you love, for example, hustle bros, it can happen. It's not your fault. You can successfully work with them. You will find each other and everyone will be happy, because for every type of client, there is a perfect freelancer.
Yes, absolutely. Which brings us to talking about support network for solopreneurs. You've talked about that those are your people. Those are the people that you really want to stay working with. How have you then continued to build on that? Because beyond working with them, you do need that support of freelancers around you to keep, because it's a lonely journey as well, right?
There is this also, it's a tricky question.
Okay.
Because whenever you're trying to involve other people in your project, you are losing quality, because you can't promise for other people that they will deliver exactly what you want. You can promise it for yourself, and also you're losing control. You can't control other people's deliverables, deadlines, if they will drop, and so on. And this affects the overall experience. So whenever you have a triangle with your client and someone else, the quality drops. The communication quality drops as well. And most likely the final result can be not so good. That's why I personally just prefer to take projects where I can do everything. So I normally I even build websites. I design, I'm using Webflow or Framer. I'm using Beehive to design newsletters. I'm designing thumbnails. So basically I cover almost every aspect of service that is needed whenever I work with my target audience and with type of people I want to work with. Sometimes I'm still collaborating with developers because it's the most natural collaboration. And here it depends a lot on the developer. If you will find the right developer, or if a client has a right developer in their team, it's going to be really, really smooth. Any other type of collaborations where you need to outsource some of elements of your designs to other designers becomes really hard, because you're becoming a client. So on top of being a designer, you're becoming a client who needs to find this freelancer.
Yeah, so if you look at that question as well from the perspective of not inviting people into your work, but more for building your own network. So when I was referring to it being a lonely journey as well, like you're busy all the time, yes, but it's just you and your clients. Do you connect with other solopreneurs more from a perspective of community, not so much so doing the work together? Have you connected with them? And if so, has that offered any kind of benefits, knowing that, okay, we're all in this together?
Yeah, I see your point. Yeah, from this perspective, it's definitely really nice to connect with others. And here, you don't need to hesitate. You see an interesting person, just reach out and tell them like, oh, I love your work. I'm also in a similar situation, similar boat. How is your life going? Because networking or finding those people is a proactive action. You can't sit at home, not messaging anyone, not being proactive and expecting your network to grow, or then expecting to seek advice from people you haven't talked to. It's also like the size of network. There are three kind of circles. The people in your network that you from time to time communicate and maintain closer relationship. That's the people you can share a complaint about daily life, work, life balance. Talk to Ini about children and how it is hard to raise them. So basically, there is a closer network that you have a deeper level of communication, and you have things that you can share, discuss, and understand each other's problems and support each other. And also, obviously, whenever you see opportunity for each other, you would immediately think about this person. The second layer is more like you engage accidentally in a way. You just engaged, you found each other, and you keep them in mind because they would be the right person if someone comes to you with a branding package, or you just love how they build some features on the website. So you know if there will be someone who comes to you, you have someone in mind to refer them, because finding freelancers is super hard.
Yeah.
A person reaching out to you is already super stressed. He's been probably entire months Googling, searching, scrolling, stressing And if you can give them at least a clue or direction or possibilities that this another person would be a better fit for them, it's highly appreciated from your network perspective and from this potential client perspective. They both happy. And the third layer is just like people you are following on social media, you know each other, you haven't really talked, but you know you exist. So whenever like something unique comes that is perfect for them, you would reach out to them, even though you haven't talked before. So sometimes whenever I have someone who needs a more like packaging or complex branding, and I was following a girl for a while on Instagram, I was like, oh, just message her. What can go wrong? So this is really helpful because you have this like library of contacts in your head, and every person in your network have a similar library to connect to point to.
Nice. All right. So looking at building like your work portfolio, right, as a solopreneur, what are those juicy things that you need to include in your portfolio to showcase your skills and attract or making yourself more discoverable by clients?
The first biggest thing, I will almost scream about it. If you're a designer, it's about visual UI.
The craft, yeah.
People look for designers with their eyes. They are not looking into your case studies or how well you messaged your hero section or how many lines of text you wrote about your wonderful experience. They consume with eyes, and they will be looking for someone who represents the aesthetics, the result they want to achieve visually. So this is the first step. If you're not passing this step visually, there is no sense in like even touching other topics. What's on your case study? What's going on your website? So the first check is visual. So if clients is that like, okay, there are projects that aligning with what I'm looking for, this is the person. The second important thing is social proof. So once you find someone who looks like a suitable potential designer for you to hire, and no matter it's a full-time or a freelance or a partnership, anything like that, you want to understand if you can trust this person. If someone worked with them and they are happy and they trusted them and everything worked out fine, they will be looking for the social proof. So it's probably like if clients are proudly writing testimonials for you, if you have testimonials from your colleagues, if you have social following, comments, anything that can prove that you're not just like good with your UI skills, you also will be good at communicating, running the project, you know your stuff outside of UI. They're looking for a professional and they need this confirmation by other people this person is professional. So those two things are the most important. The rest is just minor elements that you can polish, make it better, make it fancier, target depending on what type of customers you want to attract. But there are only two core things: the visual consumption of your content, how visually you communicated who you are, and if there are people who are saying, yes, they are good, you can hire them.
Great. Thank you so much, Christina. It's been a very, very educative episode for freelancers or solopreneurs, right? And we've touched on points from how you're journeying across different paths, from being a Fiverr designer, so to say, to becoming like an established solopreneur. And also you've talked about some of the toolkits you have, like the non-visual skill sets that you need to develop. You've also talked about the key elements of personal branding, from repetition to networking to expatriate, right? So these are amazing key points or key elements for designers out there who are looking to start out their freelancing or solopreneurship journey to take out. This has been a very, very juicy conversation, and these are like my key takeaways. So for people who are listening to you for the first time, I know you've been a guest here. What are the ways to find you online and learn more about your work?
Probably my website, where you can learn more about my personal branding. It's christy.digital. Also, if you will go to blog.christy.digital, you will find my newsletter, where I also try to write about freelancing, but I haven't had much time. I will come back to it, I promise. So there will be more editions about freelance.
Nice, nice. Yeah, we'll definitely have some of those links to the show notes. And I'm going to hand you over now to Ini for the lightning round.
Yeah. Okay, welcome to our favorite part of the episode. Are you ready to go?
Wait, I need my water.
Well, it's not utterance. I don't know. It's like
It's like, let's do this. Okay, let's start with the top 3 products that you use daily and you love.
So, first of all, I discovered a new tool that is expensive, overpriced, but somehow it makes my life so much better at managing multiple emails. It's superhuman. I'm not affiliated with them. I'm just saying that they are overpriced, but I really love it because it makes emailing feels like chatting, which is amazing and more casual for freelancers, especially because otherwise you see Gmail interface and you're like, dear customer. You're getting really, really corporate. And 2 other choices will be quite obvious is Notion. I use it for my projects, I use it for invoicing clients, and I use it daily for my tasks and task management. And as an addition to it, I'm using Notion Calendar just because I love it visually. I can collect all my different emails in one place, and I can share my availability with clients, let them book anytime just directly on slots that I prefer for this particular link.
Okay, so what's one design resource that you can't get enough, you keep going back to?
I think I will be quite repetitive, but it's mobbing. I'm sorry, it's still there, still the best. No one can replace them. And they recently launched a new project
A/B test.
about A/B tests.
A/B
It's
test.
amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
nice.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, 3 books that you like to recommend.
Here I definitely need my list. So I will go, I'm not sure if I was recommending it the last time, but I would go with Win Every Argument by Mehdi Hassan. Yes, it's still the best book you can get for polishing your communication, presentation, and public speaking skills. I know it sounds like harsh, like win, argument, scary, but it's about how you communicate to other people, how you make sure you understand other people and address their points when you respond to them. So the first and the best choice, nothing haven't changed here. I would also recommend Emotional Design by Don Norman. I'm reading it right now. The cover is very nice, first of all. And secondly, it highlights this more emotional part of design that we forget a lot about. Because we are so focused on like UX, numbers, metrics, hitting those sexy numbers that we forget that people are quite emotional beings, especially when it comes to aesthetic choices or design. And the third one is unexpected, probably choice. It's Extremely Online, the Untold Story of Fame, Influence, and the Power of the Internet by Taylor Lawrence. This is a book about how it's all started. The YouTube, the Instagram, the social media, the influences, everything. And the fun fact, did you know that YouTube started as a dating app?
YouTube?
Yes, it was a dating platform. Yes, you can record your video of yourself and post it here, and girls will like you or not. They will send you their video. So basically, I learned it from this book that sometimes products can start unexpectedly and grow into something amazing. So basically, YouTube noticed that people are using their product differently. They're not looking for the love of their life and posting their videos. They're posting cats and dogs. So
That's interesting.
a really interesting book.
Okay. And then what profession will you be in instead of your current one?
I'm sorry, it's still a teacher.
Yeah.
I wish they were paid better. I wish, like, if I can go to and teach at a university or something like that, I would definitely do it. But
This is exactly like so sorry. It's exactly what Sarah said in her. She said she would love to go back to being a teacher, especially at university level. Just wish the pay was better. Yeah.
Except like the salaries, the system, it's all broken. I don't want to join this.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Okay, what's your favorite food?
Oh, there is an update. I recently discovered. I also linked for you guys. You can cook it at home. It's a
Okay.
Thai basil chicken, chili
No, I
basil
like
chicken.
it.
It's so freshy. It's so, oh my God, it's just amazing.
Okay,
Cook it
I will
at
try
home.
it out and let you know.
The recipe is linked. You can also
Yeah,
link it
I've
up, but
opened it.
everyone try it.
I've opened it. I will still try it and let you
My
know.
wife likes it. I think she orders it from some of these
Oh,
Chinese restaurants around there. Yeah. I don't
okay.
eat it though.
Who knows? Maybe I'll find it for dinner tonight then.
It's a quick one. It's like 20 minutes to cook if you have chicken at home, and just you need Thai basil to be
Yeah,
marinated.
it's
It's a bit
spicy.
more limey than regular basil.
Yeah. Okay. What's your favorite movie?
Well, I added originally Godzilla -1 because I really love this retro Japanese aesthetic.
Yes.
It was just so pleasant to
I
watch.
love it.
But I also want to link Gary Hutsuit documentaries because he did a lot of amazing documentaries about design. Like the Helvetica one is amazing, Urbanized, a lot of others. Just go and check his website. There are a lot of them. It's just pleasure to watch.
Love it.
Nice.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Christina, and thanks for joining us once again. It's been a very, very interesting episode. I'm very sure a lot of people had learned one or two things from this episode, and we know definitely that if you are part of this, you said it's like you're part of this podcast, so we
I'm
definitely know that.
part-timer.
Definitely that if we put a call across to you again, definitely going to join, and we appreciate your time here today. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to this episode. See you next time.
All right.
Thank you
Bye.
guys.